All right, welcome to the Multifamily Investor Nation podcast. I'm your host, Dan Hanford, one of the managing partners at PassiveInvesting.com. And with us today is a special guest, Sathesh. I don't know, mess your name up again. Singaram. So Sathesh, thank you so much for being here. Appreciate you jumping on. We're going to be diving into this Cedar Run Apartments out of Memphis, Tennessee that you acquired, 416 units. We just closed on this thing last month, so it's fresh on your mind. Looking forward to diving into it. But before we do that, why don't you share with the listeners a little bit about yourself and your background and how you got into the multifamily space?
Sure. First of all, thank you very much for the opportunity, and I'm grateful for that. And about myself, as everyone, I migrated from India and back in 2000s, and IT engineer, worked in major IT companies across US, consulting as well as full-time jobs I have done. And but basically the passion was real estate. I found that back in 2013. I was seriously thinking about single family, and I bought a couple of them, and got very good appreciation, 200% plus appreciation, and which in tune, my thirst was to expedite the financial freedom. I found a way that it's only multifamily can provide that kind of expedite financial freedom. So I wanted to learn all those nuts and bolts behind the scene, right? So I joined James Kandaswamy's program, and other programs as well. I don't want to mention that, but I've been all around, right? I have spent a lot of money on that, learning things first, and then I started investing passively. And I've been investing since 2013, about 1,000 doors, right? So I when I received the passive check, right, that's when I got hooked up, right? So I just wanted to go deep dive, and I did the same. And after that, one person I have to mention here, his name is Ajay Sharma. He was the one who found my thirst for getting into the multifamily, and he gave me the opportunity in his deal as a co-GP. And that was the turning point for me. And from there on, I'm very much grateful for him for the opportunity, and definitely that was a turning point. And after that, I took over, and I do deals, and the recent closing was about 416 unit.
Awesome. That's exciting. And so it's great to kind of see and hear those stories of people that have, kind of gotten started and started to acquire properties and how they got in. One of the things I do want to ask you about that process is a lot of people think about the cost of these programs that these different kind of multifamily mentors have. And I don't have one of those. We can talk about this freely because I don't really care. But what's your thought process on spending the money that you have to be able to learn the ropes and kind of get to where you are today? How much money would you say in total have you spent on your education and to actually get to this point? And at the end of the day, was it actually worth it?
Yeah, definitely. So I strongly believe in mentorship programs. I wanted to go from point A to point B, for where I either I have to get connected with the experienced operators, or I have to go with the traditional mentorship programs, right? So I feel that is a worth money that I spent. Definitely, the decision is wise. Like I spent around 30 to 40 grand on that, learning things, and putting things together, first of all, and understand, because we are going to manage other people's money, right? So I need to do justice for my role, right? I need to understand in and outs about the entire process, right? I have to be well versed. So I thought it is worth to spend that kind of money in order to get into the field. But the results were amazing, and I strongly believe in myself. Definitely, if I spend that money, definitely I will get the results. So that's what's intention behind spending that kind of money to get into the programs.
And I think something that's different that I see in just hearing your story from what I've seen from other people that have spent that money and it hasn't worked for them is taking the action necessary to get the result, right? I mean, so many people think, oh, I can just spend the money and then all of a sudden the success is going to follow. And it's definitely not the case. You definitely need to kind of pony up and pay the money and pay the fee, but to be able to get around people that have already done it and have that knowledge and experience, and that can reduce your learning curve. But then you still have to take that action to be able to make it happen and put it into place.
That's correct. Yeah, definitely. I mean, I am kind of person, if I set a goal, definitely I will take action and I'll achieve that. That's why I spent money on myself to develop myself. So I got the result what I want. So
that's awesome. Well, let's dive into this property here called Cedar Run Apartments over in Memphis, Tennessee, 416 units. So this is a big boy property here. So looking forward to diving into this. Tell us first, how did you actually come across this property, and how did you actually first kind of learn about it?
Yeah, sure. It's a marketed deal. We were, I live in Charlotte, North Carolina, and my partner Sridhar lives in Dallas in Texas, right? So we don't to go in a competitive market, right? So I'm spending a lot of time underwriting deals in Charlotte, North Carolina, and he used to do that in Dallas, Texas. But whatever, for what some reason, wherever we go, and we were in the best in finals in Charlotte deals. You are a big player here. We don't want to compete with you guys, right? And most of the deals we were in best in finals based on our resume, right? We have a lot of experience in 400 plus properties, and we got shortlisted, but we didn't get the deal in hand. Right, that was a disappointment we had for the past 1 year, and one fine day we thought, like, why don't we extend our horizon to not only in Atlanta or Charlotte or Texas markets? Why don't we go beyond Memphis market, right? Memphis, even though it has a bad reputation in the past, but the current rental market is very good there, right? So while looking at the properties and deals, underwriting the deals, and we found this property is a marketed property. It's by Capstone. Broker is also well versed, right? So we didn't have a previous relationship with them, but we went to see other property by Newmark. Couple other properties also we have we have seen. I personally went there to see the properties. So by then, this property also in the market. So I just wanted to see that. The moment I saw the property, I was very much interested to make an offer, because after coming back from Memphis, we underwrote the deal, and we were very much impressed with the numbers. So we have a conviction that we can do this, right? So, but it's a kind of $40 million property. It's very huge asset, definitely. But we have a very burning desire that this property is the one that we are looking for, because the current seller, the previous seller, they spent around 17 million on this property, from transforming that from the structure alone he kept, and he completely renovated all the units, and it's about brand new, like a Class A property, right? So that's one of the reason, and also many other reasons are there why we went for this, when behind this property. The other important reason is pilot program. So Memphis city has a pilot program. It's kind of a LURA here in North Carolina, but it's not like a LURA. Almost certainly, I would say. It has some subsidy for the business operators. It allows the operators to enjoy the tax benefit until for next 20 years. So until next 2038, the taxes are stagnant. Real estate taxes are stagnant. For this kind of 416 unit, right? If it is a market property, we have to pay around $1.5 million in taxes. But whereas because of the pilot program, we are paying only $109K per year. So that's a huge savings for the investors, right? So that's why the numbers were amazing, and we thought, like, we can do it. So
now with that kind of tax advantages there, are you limited in the amount of rent increases you can have on the property because of that, or how did you qualify for that program?
It depends upon the property, and they have a very stringent procedures to follow on the property, like securities, camera should be installed. The previous seller already implemented almost all the programs. We are just wanted to continuing that the same program, and we there is no rent restriction per se, like it's about 60 to 70% we need to maintain that ratio. That's all. It's not a very huge restriction on the rent.
Okay. Okay. And was that already implemented onto the deal before, onto the property before you actually acquired it, or did you guys put it on afterwards?
No, it is already there. So
Okay.
they enjoyed about 4 years of the tenure, and they got another extension before the close of the property. So
Okay.
which means that they got another 10 years. So we are enjoying about 14 years of the pilot program remaining. Even though if we are selling the property down the line in next 3 years, right? The next buyer will also enjoy the same benefit as my previous seller. So
That's definitely a value play there. So what was the actual purchase price? Did you mention it was right at 40 million, or was it kind of?
it's about 39 850 something. Yep.
Okay. So 39,850. So roughly about what, 95,000 a door, somewhere around in there?
Yep. 95,000 a door.
Okay. So 95K a door. And how many offers were actually on this particular deal that were kind of alongside you that you were competing with? And then what did you do to kind of stand out from that crowd?
So here we have been told that they got multiple offers, and one offer was like around 42 million, right? But the asking price was about 40. We went with the 38 850. So first round. So we have been invited for best and final, and we have been told that the deal is not with us because there is another offer for 42 million. Weeks went by, and after that, there was a call from Boker saying that that didn't went through. They didn't the 42 million guy backed out, and we are the second highest one, and they wanted to consider us if we are increasing the offer a little bit more. So we said no, we cannot do that. The numbers are not working beyond that point. So we negotiated very well, and just 150K more we went with 39 million. So we are accepting that offer. And then they verbally said, the deal is yours. And then we kickstart all the process, like, doing due diligence, inviting my due diligence company from Atlanta to do the due diligence day. And all those schedules happened. And we were under contract even before the under contract. I completed my due diligence, like early access, 7 days early access, right? So we seller agreed for that, and we did that. On the final day of the due diligence, we were under contract. So.
Good, good. And walk us through a little bit on the terms of that offer. Obviously, you came in and got it for the 39,850. What were the terms as far as the timing on that, as well as the earnest money deposit?
Yeah, they were very particular about the timing, because this is a enormous process of transferring the pilot program from the current seller to our name, right? There is a lot of work behind the scene we have to do, even when the day one of the contract. So first thing first, the terms was like, I have to go with a hard money, about 100K hard money, and then before the due diligence, and then 100 more hard money on the final day of the due diligence. So that was one, and 200K hard money, and 15 15 days due diligence, and then 60 days to close, with the two extension of 15 days extension, two extensions with 15K every time we have to pay. So that's the terms. And seller was very flexible. They are very big group, and they have properties. They focus on distrust assert, and bringing them to the market like this, and they have specialized in that niche, in that area.
Good, good. And so it sounds to me like you gave yourself a little bit of a tighter timeline on the due diligence because of the early access agreement. So you pretty much had
Yes.
all that done. The seller liked that because it was an additional 100,000 that went hard after that 15-day period. Then you gave yourself kind of 60 days to close. Were you able to close it during that 60-day period of time, or did you have to opt for some of those extensions?
No, we were in a situation that it's not the raise, like it's about 12.2 million raise, and it is not the raise because of the procedural aspect from Fannie Mae and between the city of Memphis, right? So that was the delay we had, and due to that, a lot of hiccups. Like we extended 2 times. We enjoyed the all the extensions, and then when seller agreed for couple more, I mean, one more also, like within a couple of days also he agreed, and we paid a lot for that extension, 150K more. But because of the city of Memphis has their the person who is handling this kind of transfer and all those things, they are not hired employee of city of Memphis, right? They are doing the non NGO kind of voluntary kind of role. That is, that person was busy with a lot many other things, and that was causing a delay for us. And also, like Fannie Mae, initially they said it is a conventional loan, but after going over the documents and all those things, they mentioned that this has to be moved to the affordable housing program. So that also a cost another delay. So it's overall like it's a procedural delay between the lawyer attorneys and between the groups, City of Memphis, Capital One, and Fannie Mae. All those people were talking, and behind the scene it was causing the delay.
So walk us through the business plan here. What's kind of the business plan on what you're trying to do to be able to improve this community, and walk us through kind of maybe some interior and exterior renovation plans, and what you're planning to do from a rental standpoint as well.
Yeah, sure. Predominantly, the main reason why we went for Memphis is rental growth, right? It's about 15% rental growth as per the real page data last month, right? So main thing is that one. And the previous owner already addressed about 237 units to the premium level. The other units are in a kind of a semi upgraded units. So our business plan was, we wanted to go and upgrade the semi units to the premium level and increase the rent, like around 137 units. So we have left with 137 units, right? So we wanted to do, out of 137, we want to do at least 60 to 80 units down the line 3 years, right? So we wanted to keep the remaining 50 some units for the next buyer to, it's kind of meat on the bone for the next buyer to do the remaining things, right? So the business plan is like unit upgrades. We have around 400K budget, and playground upgrades. We have budget. We are going to add dog park installation and curb appeal and exterior upkeep. And we thought like we can put carport as well. Like carport is not a big selling point in Memphis, but we're thinking to do carports. We are just surveying about the same, and the energy efficient lighting and all those things, right? Energy efficient package, those things we are going to do, and we are going to add fitness center also. So those are all the business plan we have in place. But the properties already have a lot of amenities like Amazon hub lockers, and they have charging station, electric vehicle charging station. So they have done very well in upkeeping the property.
So let's walk through the kind of upgrades, because I think you mentioned the 137 units. They're going from a kind of a semi upgrade to the kind of premium level. What exactly are you doing in that kind of semi to premium upfit for those 60 or 80 units that you're planning to do over the next 3 years?
Yeah, it's a kind of putting up new flooring, upgraded light fixtures, kitchen appliances, microwave ovens, right? New appliances will be installed in those 80 units. We have a package about $6,000 calculated for per door. we have set aside for that.
And what is the current effective rent on the property, and what's your plan to increase it to over the next 3 years?
So we have about $900 average rental in that particular neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
And we have a plan to, upgrade. We are trying. Property management is a well-known property management in that area. Like Multi South is a property management company we hired, and they are very good at managing this pilot assets. They have about 15 properties managing in that pilot program. So we are targeting about 10 to 12% of rental hike between this semi and upgraded units.
So basically trying to get that from 900 a unit to basically close to 1,000 a unit, somewhere around there.
Yep.
Okay. And of course, and also kind of underwriting for the kind of organic rent growth just from the rent growth in the market. What was that kind of underwritten organic rent growth that you mentioned? Because I know you mentioned here being last month, Memphis being 15%, but I can't imagine you underwrote for a 15% annual rent growth. So what kind of was that number that you usually
it's about only 4% rental growth in the year one. Year one, it is zero in our underwriting. And organically, like in year two, we underwrote that deal for 4% rental growth.
Okay.
And the rental bump premium is about $140 to $155. That's what the premium rental per door.
Okay.
As per rent roll, they already achieved that for the premium units. So that was the selling point for us. We were impressed with the rent roll evidence that they are already achieving that $140.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense. And how long did you, to be able to renovate those 60 to 80 units, how much time did you give yourself in that kind of stabilization period? I know you mentioned doing it over the next 3 years. Is that really the plan? Like basically just over the next 3 years, being able to complete those 60 to 80, or is there like a time frame in the beginning that you're going to try to get them done, like in the first 12 to 18 months or something like that?
Yeah, 12 to 18 months was my sweet spot. We want to do it ASAP. We already started on the work, and my property management is fully with us in terms of budget, proposals, and all those things, bidding and all those things. And every month, averagely, we are planning to upgrade 3 units. So kind of 18 months, I would say. That's where we're looking into.
Okay. And walk me through the due diligence. Obviously you've went in there. I'm assuming you probably walked all the units and had your team do that, as well as, looking through all the leases and doing your lease audit and things like that. Was there anything that you found that was in that due diligence process that maybe caused you a little bit of, trouble or having to go back to the seller or anything like that? Or was it a pretty clean deal?
No, I would say it is a pretty clean deal as per my assumption on the first look, right? When I went there to see the property, right? The same assumptions are valid even after doing the due diligence. We went through all the units. We walked through all the units. We have 2 teams from Atlanta. He was my favorite vendor, and he used to fly from Atlanta to that property. And he walked all the units, gave us a very clean report, and he was pricing about the property. The property was maintained very well. We couldn't actually see anything alarmingly. So for the sake of writing, he wrote all those minor things like addressing all those things. So other than that, we didn't get any major red flags. Aluminum wiring was there, but it is only for 50 to 80 units. It was not remediated with the pigtails. So that was the only item came in with the due diligence, which we already know from the broker. They already told us, aluminum wiring is there. We have to remediate that. So we are kind of pretty clean with the report, and we were very happy with the results. And we went ahead with the after due diligence period, we wanted to go ahead and close this. So.
Now, with the aluminum wiring, did the lender require you to do anything as far as like maybe pigtailing them or anything like that, or was that already done?
No, it has to be remediated, and we are working with the companies and getting the bids to address that as a sort of priority for us. And that is 90 days we have been given to address those pit tiling remediation from the insurance perspective.
So is this a 60s or a 70s vintage?
72.
72. So very close
sorry,
there.
75. Sorry, 75. Sorry,
75. I figured it had to be somewhere in that range there if it had the aluminum wiring in there. Because once you got into the 80s, that you pretty much you don't see that too much anymore.
Yep.
But definitely in the 60s and 70s, you definitely saw a lot of that aluminum wiring in these types of buildings.
Yep. Absolutely.
So let's talk about the financing on this asset. What did you do from a finance perspective? I know you already mentioned kind of working with an agency there, but walk us through kind of what you did as far as the financing on this asset.
So yeah, financing side, we worked with the Meridian Capital, was my favorite lender. So he actually, from the underwriting days itself, he was involved with us. And he was very kind of, person like, go do, make it happen, that kind of attitude person. So we love that guy. His name is Mark from Meridian Capital. And he helped us, to get the quote from Fannie. And it was Fannie floater loan. And we have to buy the cap rate insurance, right? Cap insurance also we bought. And we got it underwritten this deal for 3.25, but he beat all the quotes in the market, and then he brought it final term sheet with the 2.82% interest rate.
2.82. That's great.
Yeah.
How much is it floating above? Is it above SOFR or above LIBOR?
Above SOFR, like it's about 1 point, right? 3.85 is the maximum cap that we got.
Okay. So 1 point above SOFR.
Yep.
Okay. Great. And how many periods of IO? How much IO period did you get? And was it a kind of a 10-year term and 25 or 30-year AM? Kind of walk us through that.
Yeah, it's about 4-year IO and 10-year, so 30-year term we got. And yeah, we are pretty comfortable in that. The business plan definitely will complete all the work before 4 years, right? So we thought of 4 years will be comfortable term for us.
I'm pretty sure with the floaters with Fannie, there's a more palatable kind of prepayment penalty, right? It's not as steep as the yield maintenance. So what's the actual prepayment penalty on this one?
Prepayment penalty is about 1%, I guess.
I think it was like 1%.
1%.
I've seen those before on the Fannie. We've definitely considered them. So that's good. What was the loan to value you got on this one?
We got about 72%, about 29 million. We got 72 point something.
Okay. And you said you ended up raising right at what, like 12? I think you said like 12 point something million.
12.2 million. Yes.
12.2 million. Okay. Yeah. 12.2 million. And so let's like go through that right now as well. Just jump right into the how you structured this deal with investors and how you went about raising the money.
Yeah, sure. The structure per se, it is about straight 80-20%. I mean, split, and we didn't have any much. We don't want to complicate things, but since this is a huge rise, right? So we wanted to give investors who invest beyond 250K, right? We wanted to give them the GP cut as well, right? So we have structured like, those who invest to 250K or more, they will get, apart from whatever the LP equity, they will get 0.6% up to 1 million, right? So if it is 1 million and beyond, the slab goes up. The overall percentage of, they will get about 9% cash on cash if they calculate, versus if they are coming with the LP equity in 80%, right? They'll get about 8 to 9%. So it's about a percent more, as well as they'll get the GP equity, and the ARR kind of a little bit more compared to those who are investing 50K or 100K.
Okay, and then if somebody invested less than 250K, what's kind of the waterfall structure on that one? Just like it's just a straight 80-20 and that's it?
Just a straight 80-20 on that. We don't have any slab on that. We don't have any ceiling on that. We are just passing through all this.
No preferred returns or anything like that?
No preferred.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And so how did you go raise, or how did you go about raising this money?
Yeah, it was a very Herculean task because my partner Cedar, he has done back-to-back deals before.
Yep.
So that was one of the challenge we faced. And again, Memphis market, right? Memphis market, Memphis deal, people hesitated to invest in us initially. Initial response was like kind of slow. We were afraid that we cannot do, but kind of we went with the 506C opportunity, right? So that gave us a freedom to discuss or go public and ask for money or go over even if we don't know, right? We approach each and everybody and we ask for coming into the deal, and we tried some private equity firms also, number of private equity firms, but nothing was fruitful. Only in the mid of the fundraising, we thought, okay, let's stop here. We don't want to go for private equity because they are asking all the entire chunk. They are asking our entire equity, like 12.2 itself. Whereas I have about 50% of the commitment already by the retail investors. I don't want to give the money back for the retail investors, which will, my reputation will be in stake, right? So I don't want to do that. So okay, what we can do differently, right? So when we thought about that, and then took an action plan, go add some more co-GPs, right? Co-GPs, and they can be given an opportunity in this deal, and they came in, and a couple of them are very well made utilize this properly and raise money for us. And also, like we went with a large pool of investors, retail investors, asking for more cuts. We increase the percentage from those who putting 500K and above, they'll get 0.8 something like from the GP cut as well. So that's how we completed the entire fundraise. So
That's great. That's great. So you were able to bring on some additional partners that can help you bring in some additional capital and participate with the deal on the GP side, and got the deal closed. That's great. I'm glad to be able to see you guys were able to do that. So can you think of any other issues that happened on this acquisition that we haven't touched on yet that might be good for us to talk about?
I don't think any alarming thing other than the challenge between the city of Memphis and procedural aspects like transferring pilot. Pilot has a separate board. They have to interview us as a new owners before even we are getting to contract. The moment we made an LOI, the first thing the seller said, like after accepting our offer, go apply for pilot transfer. That's the first thing they ask us to do, and we made the application. And after that they had a board interview, which I didn't tell in the previous part. So that's why I'm telling you right now. And that was the procedural things that made us a lot of challenging things in terms of dealing with the government offices and all this stuff.
So I do have one kind of question that just came to my mind that I actually had earlier that I wanted to make sure I had made a note to ask you about. This is obviously, given your timeline here, we have 15 days due diligence, 60 days to close. Then you had 2 options to extend for another, kind of 30 days. So technically here you had 1, 2, 3, 3.5 months to actually get this thing closed. And you also had the early access agreement, which actually started before you did your due diligence period. So you probably had 4 months that you actually were kind of had this thing pretty much awarded to you, where you got it closed. At what point did you decide to start raising money and accepting money into your escrow account or your bank accounts to be able to close this deal? And the reason why I asked that is because I've seen some deals like this before where investors get frustrated because they wire money in early and they're like, wait a minute, why does this keep on getting extended? Is this thing going to actually close? And they get frustrated that their money is sitting there not making a return because they don't actually start earning anything, as you know, and everybody else does, until you actually close on the property.
Absolutely. That's a great question. And we had the same challenge. But fortunately, I would say fortunately, all my investors' communications are very clear that, every week, hey, this is what the point at which those whoever wired the money very first, like it's about May or June timeframe, and we are keep on communicating them constantly, like every week update. Hey, this is the reason why this is happening. This is happening. So none of our investors came back and asked their money back. No investors, I would say. So that way we are pretty much grateful for the trust in us that they kept, right. So we definitely owe them a lot, and we keep on communicated until closing, and they were okay with that. They understood the procedural things was the only one that is causing the delay. So somehow we did that consistently since we were under contract. We keep communicating that via emails and phone calls, and which made them comfortable for the smooth closing. Yeah.
Well, Sathesh, thank you so much for being here and participating with this particular podcast. I've learned a lot, and I'm sure our listeners have as well. How can the listeners reach out to you if they have further questions for you about this particular episode and this particular acquisition, or maybe they just want to follow you more?
Yeah, definitely. I'm in the social media, all the social media like Facebook, LinkedIn. I'm very active on LinkedIn, and they can reach me in my cell number 920-944-4815. And also they can reach me in my email, sathesh@fortuneinvestmentsgrp.com. So both ways they can reach me in.
Awesome. That sounds great. Well, I want to thank you again, once again, for coming onto the podcast. I know it takes a little bit of time to come on here and share this information, but hopefully it'll be fruitful for you as well as our listeners and our base here. We're looking forward to continuing to follow you as you close more deals, and also to have you on a future episode as well.
Thank you so much for the opportunity, Dan. Thank you very much. I enjoyed the podcast.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Hope you have a good rest of your day.
Thank you. You too. Bye.